I'm online. My name is Yehoshua Yaakov Ben Avraham. I'm making this video from Jerusalem, and the subject is sexist media coverage that has been leveled. It's been leveled by quite a few women's groups, I'm responding to that. And first, the analysis and the observations are not inaccurate, and the analysis though is superficial. Specifically, Hillary came to the campaign with her bags and baggage, and she invited a lot of abuse. Unfortunately, that came really from her. And the professional analysis, the in-depth analysis, would confirm the reaction, very much not underreported, unreported. I would say there was a very clear and distinct underlying message of castration of the husband, and some would attribute that to pushback on the Monica affair, or the other ones in Indiana. We don't know. It doesn't matter. There was and there is a very clear kill daddy program there working, and all you have to do is look at the body language between Bill Hillary and their daughter Chelsea. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out what the grammars are. But that said, clearly there were some overkills. There was some pushbacks and some overreactions. There was the underlying established prejudice against the Clinton machine and the power and control that they had for so many years, the political monopoly in America. But having said all of that, the issues were covered extremely well. And the most important issue, unfortunately, went uncovered, which is Humanomics, which is the new East-West convergence model for the post-collapse of the local reality. Hillary is aware of that, and she was more preoccupied with very superficial things in many instances, and she particularly hurt herself significantly by claiming, as she did repeatedly, that her economic plan, and I'm quoting her, my economic plan is national health insurance. That's not an economic plan. That is a demand side, demand stimulus. That's spending. And there was absolutely nothing communicated on the supply side. And it was, you could say that's a gaffe, but I don't. And maybe that's going to bring accusations that I'm being sexist, but I can remember having persuasions at one time that were very much favorable to Hillary, and as I watched her campaign and the dialogic emerge, it began to steadily go south. And of course, being a didactic scientist with particular expertise in cognitive behavioral science, I began to question my own reactions to her and saying, wait a minute, maybe this is a closet kill mummy program at work here, and you're a sexist yourself, and what's going on here? So I was tending to be very cautious and comprehensive in the analysis and in listening. But the patterns that emerged continued to emerge, and the most damaging behaviors that I saw emerge from the campaign that went most against Hillary, for example, was her Kill Daddy program. She projected that onto Barack Obama and on a number of occasions undertook very clear behaviors of the Kill Daddy castration model that she's laid onto her husband, and these the grammar, the meta-narrative that emerged, and the grammars that were being picked up, very subtle, but they were very clearly present in there. And when those matriculated in the various media machines and networks, it became very damning for her, clearly, and it turned very much the media against her. And it is another thing to, in retrospect, say that the media, that in clearly, in absolute terms, in retrospect, there was clearly a turning point at which the media turned against her. The Bosnia sniper, she clearly came out and shot herself in the foot, and she wasn't satisfied. She took a shotgun and blew her leg off and tried to do away with herself because it was repeated 3 times. Now these are extremes, and the reactions to her candidates, the opposition to the candidate she was running against, Obama, in a number of the debates, were extremely condescending and indulgent, and the grammars of the hostility, the underlying hostility, and remarkably and very strangely, I was looking for the Kill Mummy program on pushback from Obama, and truly to my utter amazement, it wasn't there, and I couldn't find it, and I kept looking harder for it, and there was deference and respect, and there was consistency, and this dramatically endeared him to many of the voters, and I can even say that I would not be surprised to the disbelief of many of the women voters, saying this can't be true. What I'm seeing isn't playing out the way one would expect it to. So the bottom line is we're in the post-collapse of the local reality globally, which is the end of man and mankind's exile. And if you're, I'm an anthropological humanist from an anthropological humanist father and a traditional spiritualist mother. They converge in Michael O'Donnell, born an Irish Catholic, and whose roots were Jewish, returns to his roots, and I live in Jerusalem for the past 22 years, with the greatest the misogynism claims against Obama fell through. The sexist claims of the media are pretty unsubstantiated. There were a couple, but they're throwaways. They were obvious, and they were out of place, and they just didn't take any traction at all. Having said all of this, the East-West convergence model, its central organizing principle is receive to give. Receiving what? Receiving the authentic you. To give the authentic you to you, your children, your family, your community, your nation. And this isn't present. This basic cognitive behavioral science is not present in Hillary Rodham Clinton, and the resulting identity resolution is as well clearly not present. Now, having said that, there is a very significant amount of mistreatment at the hands of the media that clearly cannot be labeled sexist, but it clearly was there and present, and it was the result of the media turning against Hillary, and this really largely came from her own speech, her own words, her own gaffes, her own mistakes, and on balance, I would say the campaign was shoddy, and interestingly, one of the most sexist, clearly claims that could be supported was Penn, and the people who worked for her. They clearly treated her in sexist terms and mishandled her. And here, there isn't a word said. So the media got a bit of a bum rap, in my opinion, anyway. I'm Yehoshua Yaakov ben Avraham. I'm the author of Humanomics in general, and its trilogy, and its 2 paradigms. I live in Jerusalem. Thank you for listening. Well, wish you kabel b'shvil tet, receive it to give from Jerusalem.